Young-hee sat by the window, absent-mindedly spinning her empty teacup as she gazed outside. For the 75-year-old, each day felt endlessly long and quiet. The only sign of life in this silent house was the ticking of the clock. "Honey." The words came out habitually and echoed in the air. It's been 10 years since my husband passed away. The first few years were spent in sorrow. But now that sadness has dulled, only emptiness remains. As she lifted her teacup, Young-hee looked at the photo taken with her husband. The two of them in the black and white photo taken during their newlywed days looked so happy. At that time, I never dreamed that such a lonely old age would come. Mom, hello. My eldest son Junsu came to visit with his wife and son. It was a visit that came once a month, out of a sense of obligation. Grandma, I missed you. 8-year-old grandson Changjun ran to Young-hee and hugged her. For a moment, Young-hee's heart melted at the warmth of the child. Our Changjun has grown a lot. Are you eating well? Yes. What about you, Grandma? Aren't you scared being alone? At the child's innocent question, Young-hee smiled bitterly. It's okay, Grandma. But Junsu exchanged glances with his wife and then cautiously opened his mouth. Mom, we have something to discuss. We're busy too, and we have to take care of the kids. It's dangerous for you to be alone. Young-hee knew what her son was trying to say. You're talking about the Silver Town. Your facilities are really nice. And there are many people around your age. It's better than being alone with Mom. Young-hee looked out the window. The 50 years spent in this house passed by like a flash. Raising the children, laughing and crying with her husband, all those memories kept Young-hee awake that night as she gazed at her husband's photo. Honey, I guess it's really over now. Loving someone and being loved has now become something that can only exist in memories. 2 months later, Young-hee took one last look around the house. Amid the packed luggage, she took out a small box. In the meantime, she gathered photos and letters filled with memories of Young-hee's family. I must take this with me. In the car heading to Silver Town, Young-hee was holding the box tightly. Although it was said to be a new beginning, it felt like the end of everything to her. Welcome to Hills Silver Town. The caregiver with a bright voice welcomed Young-hee. The facility was really nice. It was clean and modern, but to Young-hee, it felt like a cold hospital. Room 201 is your room. Meals are at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m., and there are various programs in the afternoon. Young-hee nodded, but her heart was heavy. Sitting alone in the room and looking out the window, I shed tears. When Young-hee entered the restaurant, she stood there blankly, not knowing where to sit. Although elderly people were chatting at several tables, Young-hee felt like an outsider. Please have a seat. One person kindly gestured. This person named Park Soon-ja was an old resident of this place. It's your first time here. It takes time to adjust. I cried every day at first too. Young-hee felt a little relieved by Soon-ja's warm words. Look at that person over there. When she looked, Soon-ja was pointing. There was someone quietly eating alone at a secluded table. It's Mr. Kim Chang-soo. He came 3 months ago, and he's quite a dignified person. He doesn't say much, but he's very polite. Young-hee observed him closely. He was tall, and his neat attire gave off a somewhat luxurious vibe. The next morning, While taking a walk in the garden, Young Hee was resting on a bench. The autumn sunlight was warm, but my heart was still lonely. "Excuse me." When I looked up at the low, soft voice, there stood the person I saw yesterday. "May I sit here?" "Yes, of course." He looked even more impressive up close. Deep gaze, neat appearance. But what surprised Young Hee the most was his eyes. "The weather is really nice." It felt like something she had heard before. "Yes, that's right." An awkward silence fell. But strangely, it wasn't uncomfortable. "How long have you been here?" "It's been about a week." "How long have you been here?" "It's been about 3 months." Chang-Soo hesitated for a moment and then spoke. "It's not easy to adapt, is it?" "Yes. Leaving the house I've lived in for 50 years. There was a hint of sadness in Young Hee's voice. "I'm the same way. But I think this place is quite nice in its own way. Especially this garden is really beautiful." Young Hee looked at Chang-Soo. His tone, smile, and even the way he sits felt familiar. After that, Young Hee and Chang-Soo naturally started meeting in the garden. At the same time every day. At first, they only exchanged brief greetings, but gradually their conversations became longer. "How was breakfast this morning?" "The seaweed soup was similar to what we used to make at home." "How was it?" "I'm actually not good at cooking. Since my wife passed away, I've been managing on my own." "Oh, I'm sorry. That was a mistake." "No, it's okay." Chang-Soo smiled at Young Hee. "I'm actually glad that I can talk like this." Having been alone for a long time, Young Hee's heart strangely raced. Is it strange to feel this way at my age? Young Hee discovered herself, looking forward to her meeting with Chang-Soo. Every morning, choosing her clothes and fixing her hair in front of the mirror felt like returning to her younger days. "Young Hee, you seem to be looking bright these days," Sunja said with a smile. "Is that so? I heard you became friends with Mr. Kim Chang-Soo? That's great news. It's not easy to make friends here." "Friends? Is that really all?" Young Hee looked into her own heart, thinking of Chang-Soo warmed her heart. And recalling his smile brought a smile to her lips. On a fall afternoon, in a garden beautifully adorned with autumn leaves, the two of them sat side by side on a bench. The sound of the stream was quieter than usual. "What are you thinking so deeply about?" Young Hee asked cautiously. "Young Hee." The moment Chang-Soo called her name, Young Hee's heart began to race. That intonation, that voice. "May I ask what your name is, Young Hee?" "This is Lee Young Hee." "Why?" Chang-Soo's face turned pale. "Then, if you don't mind me asking, which university did you attend?" "Seoul Women's University." "But why the sudden question?" Chang-Soo took Young Hee's hand with trembling fingers. "Young Hee, is that really you?" "Lee Young Hee." It's the Young Hee from 55 years ago. It felt as if Young Hee's world had stopped. That voice, the way that name is called, instantly transcended 55 years, flooding back the memories of an 18-year-old girl. Could it be Chang-Soo? "You mean Kim Chang-Soo?" The two looked at each other, tears welling up in their eyes. Through the wrinkled face, the image of youth overlapped. "Young Hee, it's really you." "I can't believe how much." Chang-Soo's voice trembled. "Chang-Soo, it feels like a dream. How could this happen?" "It's a miracle from the heavens that we meet again." Young Hee looked closely at Chang-Soo's face. Though the wrinkles have increased and his hair has turned gray, his gaze was exactly the same as it was 55 years ago. Mr. Chang-soo, do you remember? The day we first met? Of course. March 2, 1968, Seoul Women's University entrance ceremony. You were wearing a sky blue dress. Young-hee was taken aback. You really remember that day? How could I forget it? It was the day my life changed. Chang-soo held Young-hee's hand tightly. When you first spoke to me in the library, your face turned red, and that was so beautiful. I'm embarrassed to talk about those old stories. It's not that long ago. It feels like just yesterday to me. In the gradually darkening garden, the two shared stories from the past. Chang-soo, back then. Why did you suddenly disappear? There was a hint of resentment in Young-hee's voice. I'm sorry, Young-hee. I truly apologize. Tears flowed from Chang-soo's eyes. When your parents came to meet me, they said, we can never let our daughter marry a son from a poor family. So what? I had my pride too. And because I truly loved you, I didn't want to ruin your future. Young-hee was on the verge of tears. You're such a fool. You should have at least asked me. I was young and foolish back then. Looking back now, I should have fought until the end. I should have spoken more firmly to my parents. But in the end, I married the person they chose for me. The two of them cried for a long time. The longing and regrets that had been buried for 55 years burst out all at once. From that day on, Young-hee and Chang-soo met every day. They shared their stories as if to fill the 55 years of silence. They didn't care even if they felt the gaze of others. How have you been doing all this time, Chang-soo? I wondered for a while. After breaking up with you. Then I started a small business. Chang-soo looked at the mountains in the distance and said. At first, it was a small factory. I was focused on work all day long. I tried to forget you. What about marriage? I got married after 5 years, and he was a good person. We had children and lived a normal life. Young-hee felt a strange sense of jealousy. You must have been happy. No, I wasn't. Chang-soo spoke firmly. To be honest, there has always been a part of my heart with you, Young-hee. I built a life with someone else, but my true love was always you. Hot tears flowed from Young-hee's eyes. Me too, Chang-soo. Young-hee said in a trembling voice. I'm sorry to my husband. But I realized that this is what first love is like. While raising the children and managing the household, I sometimes thought of Chang-soo, and it made my heart ache. Is that really true? Before falling asleep at night, I would think. What is Chang-soo doing right now? Is he living happily? Almost every day. Chang-soo hugged Young-hee tightly. You must have felt foolish. I felt the same way. Every day without meeting you was a regret. 2 days later, Chang-soo brought a small gift. What is this? When Young-hee opened the wrapping paper, it was a beautiful brooch. I wanted to buy this 55 years ago. But I couldn't because I didn't have the money back then. Even now? Young-hee was so moved that she couldn't speak. Shall I pin it on you, Chang-soo? Chang-soo carefully pinned the brooch on Young-hee's clothes. Every time his hand brushed against her, Young-hee's heart raced. You look beautiful, really beautiful, Chang-soo said as he looked at Young-hee. In that moment, Young-hee fell into the illusion of being an 18-year-old girl. From the next day, the two walked hand in hand like young lovers. Young-hee, Shall we go out of the Silver Town? Is it okay to go out? Of course, you just need to apply for an outing. Chang-soo took Young-hee to a nearby cafe. It was their first official date in 55 years. Would you like coffee or tea? Please give me coffee with 2 sugars. I remember. You used to put a lot of sugar in it back in the day. Young-hee was surprised. Do you remember that too? I remember everything about you. At the cafe, the two shared stories they hadn't been able to tell for 55 years. Other guests were watching, but I didn't care. As the sun was setting, Chang-suk stopped walking on the way back to the nursing home. Young-hee. What? Isn't it too late for us now? What do you mean? I mean love. At 75, Young-hee's heart began to race like that of an 18-year-old girl. Chang-soo. I waited for 55 years. Now I'll be honest. I still love you. Just like back then, no, even deeper. Tears flowed from Young-hee's eyes. I love you too, Chang-soo. It might seem foolish to say something like this at my age. What are you talking about, Young-hee? Is there an age limit to love? Chang-soo held Young-hee's hand with both of his. Isn't our heart still alive? Though their wrinkled hands were clasped together, the gaze they exchanged was just as earnest and passionate as it was 55 years ago. A few days later, Young-hee was taken by surprise as she passed by Chang-soo's room. There were several young men in suits in Chang-soo's room, which he usually kept modest. Chairman, the performance for this quarter is. Next week's board meeting agenda is. Young-hee couldn't believe her ears. Chairman? Chang-soo? Listening to their conversation, it turned out that Chang-soo was the chairman of a large company. The way they spread out the documents and spoke seriously was completely different from usual. That evening, unable to contain her curiosity, Young-hee cautiously asked. Chang-soo, the people who came today. Chang-soo hesitated for a moment and then forced an awkward smile. You've been caught. Are you really the chairman? Yes, I am. Young-hee was so surprised that she couldn't speak. The truth is, I am running a fairly large business. I came to the Silver Town not because I have health issues. Then why are you here? Because I feel lonely. Young-hee was even more surprised by Chang-soo's simple answer. What does money matter? You have a big house and a nice car. But being alone feels like a prison. So, is it okay for you to be with someone as ordinary as me? There was a sense of anxiety in Young-hee's voice. Don't say foolish things. Chang-soo held Young-hee's hand. Whether you're a conglomerate or ordinary in my eyes, you are still that beautiful 18-year-old Young-hee, but... Young-hee, meeting you here is a gift from heaven. The most precious gift that money can't buy. Young-hee was even more touched by Chang-soo's heartfelt confession. The love story of the two became the talk of the entire Silver Town. Dating at 75? It looks nice, doesn't it? Love knows no age. At first, there were people whispering. But when you looked into the eyes of the two people gazing at each other, no one could say anything. The same was true when Young-hee's son, Jun-soo, came to visit. Mom, what do you mean at this age? But the moment Jun-soo saw his mother's expression, he stopped speaking. The bright smile of his mother, which he had long forgotten, had returned. Son, when was the last time your mom was this happy? Young-hee's face was filled with vitality. I didn't realize how grateful I would be to be able to love even as I grow older. Chang-soo's sons were surprised by their father's change. This is the first time I've seen my father looking so bright. Thanks to Aunt Young-hee. I appreciate it. The two decided to live together like a married couple in a Silver Town. Although they did not have a legal marriage, They became invaluable companions to each other. Every morning, we walked together, had meals together, and read books together. When Chang-Su played the saxophone for Young Hee, she listened with the same excitement as she did 55 years ago. "Mr. Chang-Su, I didn't know you could play the saxophone too? I learned it when I was young, and I practiced again for you." Young Hee was moved to tears. One evening, two people were sitting on a bench in a garden as the sun was setting. Young Hee leaned on Chang-Su's shoulder and whispered, "Chang-Su, can I say something like this?" "What is it?" "I really think love has no age." Young Hee's voice trembled. "My heart is still racing like that of an 18-year-old girl. Thinking of Chang-Su makes me feel this excited even at this age." Chang-Su smiled as he hugged Young Hee tightly. "I feel the same way, Young Hee. It's worth the 55 years of waiting. Can we continue to be together like this in the future?" "Of course. Let's never part again from now on." The sight of the two people bathed in the sunset light was like a beautiful poem. It was a love as beautiful as a flower that blooms again in autumn, showing how deep and precious love can be in old age. Young Hee whispered softly one last time while holding Chang-Su's hand tightly. "Love knows no age. My heart still beats like a girl's." It was the moment when a love that waited for 55 years finally came to fruition. Please leave a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe.